Okay, so this one is about the nature of intervention. And intervention is an interesting one because when we intervene, it kind of has a positive connotation. It feels like we're doing something good. I'm intervening, so I'm saving this person. I'm intervening, so I'm going to heal this person. I'm intervening so this person doesn't get hurt. And of course, it can be a beneficial energy and an authentic aspect of our nature that arises when we want to protect someone from pain, when we want to prevent them from feeling pain. And intervention is a really loving way to demonstrate mercy. But to intervene means that you are choosing to inject your energy into a situation or a scenario, despite anyone else's free will choice. So you're not prepared to consider the free will choices of everyone else involved. You're only focused upon expressing your own nature and expressing your own will, regardless of anyone else's free will. So it's very interesting. It's, you can't, I've just done an episode on the nature of violation. And so, it can be a form of violation where you're just you don't care about the other person's desires or what they might want because you've decided what's best for them. And, I think it's a fine line. There are so many scenarios where, you feel it just arise within you and you just want to intervene, save that person some harm, cause them some harm, put their mind at rest or save them from some scenario. You don't want people to be in pain. You don't want them to be stressed. You want them to be at peace. And, this whole thing of intervening is so common, especially in, the industries of what I would call self-awareness, healing, all these kinds of things. I think people, especially people who have a tendency to want to heal other people, are often trying to intervene in those people's lives and, be the source of their healing rather than just be an aspect of that person's experience, reflecting something to them in order to evoke awareness within themselves about their situation or anything like that. And, anyone that has followed my podcast for a while knows my perspective on teaching, in that, when we try to teach someone how to do something, it holds the energy that there's something they have to do, that there's something they have to change. And that's an extremely, it's the opposite of love. To accept someone is to say to them, exactly where you are is perfect. Exactly where you are is perfect, because it comes from, when you try and teach someone how to do something in order to change, it means that you are oblivious to the beneficial purpose of why they're in pain or of why they are presenting with a specific symptom. Nature is insanely intelligent. Insanely intelligent. Just look at the galaxies. Look at it. It's the intelligence of it is unexplainable. And so we have to, the collective consciousness of human beings, we have to come to the realization that if there is a symptom, if there's something presenting, there is a beneficial purpose of that. Even if that a disease kills someone, it's not until you understand, when you have endured suffering to the extent that from your perspective, life is the source of your pain, then death is an act of mercy. And, your body is like your child. It's mimicking everything that you are doing and exactly how you're choosing to express yourself in the world. Your body is mimicking it like a child. Now, your body is insanely, the genius of the body is extraordinary. It's the master alchemist. But when it's born, it's like you. It's a child. It doesn't know what its potential is. It doesn't understand what its genius is. And the way that we live our lives through how we behave is showing the child how you need to live. And we basically teach our body how to be completely dependent on so many different things, when the body is totally capable of being self-reliant, creating its own source of energy. But we haven't figured that out yet, so the body doesn't know how to do it. We don't know how to appreciate our genius yet, so our body doesn't know how to appreciate its own. And so intervention, the classic reason we intervene is if, we're parenting a child or looking after a child. No, don't touch that. And, of course, what are you going to do if you're like, no, I'm just going to let this baby learn the lesson of touching the hot stove. They won't do it again. There is validity to that, but how many of us have got, can sit here and just watch a child just burn the hell out of its hand, potentially do irreparable damage? And so, intervention. Are you violating that child's free will? Yep. But will that child be grateful? Let's say it's a toddler. If that toddler realizes the potential consequences that they would have endured if they had touched it, are they going to be grateful that that parent intervened? Definitely. And there's the rub. At an early age, you have a child who is appreciating an authority figure intervening in their decisions, intervening in their choices. And so, I'm huge on, living through appreciation, appreciating the things in your life that you want to grow, either through money or by imbuing your presence into that thing. Giving something unconditional presence or choiceless awareness, whatever you want to call it, just being there and imbuing something with your energy. If a child is imbuing that scenario, if they're appreciating the parent intervening in their free will choices, then that's what's growing. More scenarios where the parent has to intervene, or where their reality is reflecting to them an authority figure intervening in their free will choices. And so, over time, what this breeds is a society full of adolescents who are really still children, who are used to authority figures intervening in their day-to-day choices, and by the time they go out into the big bad world and get a job and do all that stuff, they're used to authority figures controlling them. And they're desensitized to it because it's their entire reality has been normalized. Giving away their power has been normalized. It's just normal. They can't even feel or recognize that they're doing it. And the problem being that many of us who are in that people-pleasing mentality of wanting to please an authority figure, whether it's a boss at work, whether it's a parent, even if it's a friend within the group that has paternal energy, or maternal energy, we can often, in order to please that person, win their favor, get an attaboy. Then the classic mechanism is to give our power away. And it's done inadvertently, but we actually want that authority to control us, to intervene in our free will choices. And the government that we have today, the democratic government that we have today, the nature of it is exactly like this, where we've chosen for our form of government to intervene in our free will choices. And there's lots of stuff going on in New Zealand at the moment about this, where the government are knowingly and willingly going against the unified voice of the people. And, with COVID and lockdown and freedom being a hot topic at the moment, it's really causing, people are not happy. People are not happy, but, the reality is we don't really have the right to complain, because we've chosen to imbue that authority with the power to intervene in our free will choices. We have to accept that. We gave it to them. We wanted it. But this is what it means. We can't complain. We have to understand it. And as I said in the beginning of this podcast, we have to understand the beneficial purpose of why we've done these things. And it's because, it's glaringly obvious, but it's because we don't have to take responsibility if someone else does. So that means if we don't trust ourselves, if we don't trust our own ability to discern, make decisions for ourselves, then the authority figure can take away the anxiety of having to make choices ourselves. And with that goes the responsibility. So we give our power away, but with that goes the responsibility for that choice as well, which means we can then point the finger and say, oh, you, da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, we're pointing the blame at people that have intervened in our free will choices, and we're pointing the finger at them, but we're standing there with no power to influence or change it. Just standing there pointing the finger, blame, blame, blame. You this, you that. Very, very easy. Very easy to live your life like that. And, lots of, many of us are used to this now, feigned outrage. Pretending to be completely outraged about something from a position of having absolutely zero power or influence to change it. And, enter cancel culture. Cancel culture, my God. That is just unbelievable. My prediction for cancel culture is that the pendulum will swing the entire other way other direction, and that people will begin to be shamed for seeking to cancel people, because that's just basically it's the victim becoming the bully. So I feel for these people that are seeking to, minorities joining together to lash out and fight back at people who cause them pain. But the notion that someone else's perspective has the power to be causing your pain is the most self-victimizing mindset you can possibly have. Fancy protesting because Dave Chappelle told a joke about being transgender, and you're protesting. Publicly saying that someone else can wield that kind of power to the point where their words can have a significant impact on your life. Other people's words can't hurt us. It's only our pain that hurts us. People's words just amplify the pain that's already there. They're just magnifying what's already there. My hope is that someday every human being understands this, that when we feel pain and it came because of something someone else said, it's a gift. It's a gift. And, I can see a day where, we show children how to do this in schools. When they feel pain or, when they begin to cry, that we walk them through it. We help them interpret the feeling and the meaning. And that in time we'll embrace these feelings and, be authentically appreciative when we discover them, because it means we don't walk around carrying it and harboring resentment for most of our lives and then dying of some disease because we're so disappointed with the world. So, intervention. So I want to share my perspective from a work perspective as well. I'm in an interesting phase. I'd call it a transition at the moment where the startup I've been working on for many years, I've been, the orchestrator of it for all that time. And we're in a transition where, it's been going from where I've been, the authority figure, and it's now everything I was doing, all that authority that I held is now being distributed to a wider team who are all taking on different things, and everyone's kind of finding their way. And the scenario that we're in is, it means I'm totally vested in another project now, which is linked to this project, but nonetheless, I've thrown myself into this other project with the same passion and vigor as this other one, and now I'm obsessed about this other project, and I'm kind of, my energy's been sucked out of this other project, and so it's very interesting watching how different people respond to the authority missing. So the authority is not there anymore that used to be there. So, I need to make this decision, or should that be this person, or and they'll come to me, and this is where I want to talk about intervention. Not all of them, but they'll move towards me. And if I give them, well, if I show even a tiny little bit of a willingness to, give of my energy, then this isn't all of them, it's just a couple of scenarios, wanting to just give me their power, just give their power away, just basically offload it. And it happened today actually to me, and I was just, I was staggered because I could feel that I could feel that this person was carrying, a bit of stress, was carrying the burden, didn't feel as though they could, had everything to be able to provide what was needed. And I wanted to intervene so bad. I just felt for this person, and I just wanted to nurture them and ease their mind and ease their pain. And I almost went in and just started carrying some of their burden for them. And, the gravity of this is the pull is massive. The pull is massive. And so, but I didn't. And I had to there was so much gravity of trying to draw me into it. I had to assertively refuse. And I talk about refusal quite a lot. And, it's just no. No, I've got other things I need to be focusing on. You'll be fine. And, assertiveness is, when you do it and you're not kind of it's the best. It's the best. Just know, I want to focus on da. And you just cut it. And I liken it to, I don't have children, but I liken it to, dropping your child off at school for the first day. Oh, this is so tragic. I'm talking about it like it's a child, but this project, I've been so passionate and invested in it for so long. And, as soon as it's done, you're thinking, oh, and then the guilt kicks in and you're like, oh, I'm a bad person. What kind of person, what doesn't help someone who's stressed out? And, so intervention, the pull to intervene is massive. But, if you take one point away from this podcast, my hope is that it's this one. And that is that every situation and scenario where you believe you're helping someone, is you are taking away. You are taking some of the burden of responsibility from that person. Now, whether it's done consciously or unconsciously, it doesn't matter. There is an energetic exchange, and you are taking it on. And when, compassion rises up and, even mercy at times, if someone's really stressed, it can feel like a really wonderful thing to do. Nonetheless, if you're unable to zoom out and be the observer and look at it and say, is that something I wanted to take on? And if the answer is no, then you are oppressing yourself. There's no two ways about it. And this is where assertiveness is essential. And I think for parents, this must be the hardest thing in the world, to know when to let the child to burn their hand, bang their head, do something on their own without intervention, even if they stuff it up, make a mistake, have to learn from it. And the thing I find the hardest is if I've got expertise in something, then it's so easy just to go and do something quickly. So much easier to go in and do something quickly because I've got experience at this thing or some expertise, and I could just pick it up and get it done, and it'll take that person 10 times longer. But if you don't assert your right to refuse, and then you take it on, and then that person doesn't learn. So the same thing goes for a parent. Ultimately, from the perspective of nature, it wants a child to be as self-reliant as possible, as quick, fast as possible. The sooner the better. The sooner a child is free of dependency, the better. Now, but I think this is the other fine line where I think it can be easy to get confused as well, because being self-reliant doesn't mean you do everything yourself. What it means is that you're capable of meeting getting your own needs met, without someone else having to intervene. And so, the intervention means that your power has been taken away and you've allowed it to go. But self-reliance means that you are conscious of everything you are imbuing your energy into, and you're imbuing your energy into that thing because you want something else to appreciate. So let's say, I'm an accountant. I don't know why I always use accountants, but let's say I'm an accountant and I'm a really good accountant, and there's another accountant in my team, and there's a task that needs to be done, and I can do this task, and then so-and-so jumps in and says, "Oh, I'll do that." So it comes in, intervenes. I was going to do that task. Comes in, intervenes. Now, do I give away my power to complete that task? I hold the responsibility now. I'm the authority for this now. Do I allow it to be taken? So if the discernment comes in where when you ask yourself, do I appreciate this? Do I appreciate this? Meaning, if I were to allow this to be taken away, what is it that I would rather appreciate? Because what you've been given is the gift of your presence. So if someone is taking responsibility from you, then that responsibility frees up your presence. It gives you more of your own presence to appreciate something else. And so the question is that something I want to appreciate because when I do that task, I'm using my gifts and it's a great joy and da-da-da-da, or does this just need to be done? And can I now invest my own presence into appreciating something else? And so, it's very easy to, let's say someone comes in to intervene, very easy just to go, hey, that's mine. Hey, What are you doing? No. This is my task. This is my job. Very easy to do that. In fact, it'll be a natural reaction. Cut off your nose to spite your face. So, when you become really conscious, and when I mean really conscious, when you get to the point where you're consciously aware of everything you're creating, you're consciously aware of everything in your possession and the utility of that thing, how it enables you to create in the world. You don't have clutter and crap lying around that isn't that you're not appreciating and isn't appreciating other things or other people. Everything in your fridge is in there for a reason. It's not just lying there in case something happens someday. That everything you're creating in your life is a conscious creation, and which means every task, every choice, reaction, and decision has meaning. I've got Tabasco sauce in the pantry so that. This is what it means to be conscious, is you understand the reasons why everything is the way it is. If you don't know why all these things are in the cupboard, because in your mind, your mindset, you're saying to yourself, just in case. Like, just in case of what? Just in case, the universe throws you something that you didn't expect. You're basically holding a mindset of the world happening to you. That is an unconscious mindset. You're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for, the universe to make something happen for you. And again, you're really, what you're saying is you want the universe to intervene. A conscious creator knows why the Tabasco sauce is there. Because on Thursday, I'm making nachos and so-and-so is coming around, and I want the nachos to have a little bit of kick. An unconscious creator doesn't know why half of the things that they have in their possession are in their possession, and they've got them there just in case something happens. This is, you are appreciating the universe intervening in your reality. You're appreciating the universe intervening in your life. You're saying, I want to give the authority for my free will choices, my conscious choices. I'm choosing to buy the Tabasco sauce so that so-and-so can come around, we can enjoy this, and da-da-da-da. Those are all free will choices to consciously create a meal and an experience with people. I know I want the meal to have kick. I've got cheese there because I know, and I've got tasty cheese because I know that so-and-so enjoys the flavor of tasty above Colby. There's always a so that. The flavor of the cheese is so that. I got 250 grams instead of 500 grams because I know the proportions. I know the portion sizes that I want. This is what conscious creation is. You're saying, I decide. I decide how to wield my power. I decide the parts of my life that I want to grow. And I appreciate those things. I imbue my presence into them. And I don't have things around me that I cannot appreciate, that I don't want to appreciate. And there is nothing in my reality that it can engage with my experience that is there because of just in case. Now, this isn't to say that, if you go shopping and you cook a meal and there's leftover stuff in a bottle, that you just toss it away. But a conscious creator, and I would say this is anal. I'm not like this. But a truly conscious creator would look at what's left over, and what they would create next would be a solution on how to appreciate what is here now. So I've just cooked this meal. There's half a bottle of Tabasco sauce left. There's half a block of cheese. There's a tin of tomatoes. They would bring that stuff together and say, how can I appreciate these things now? And then if they, they'd cook a meal around appreciating what is here now. And this is what conscious creation really is. And so, that'd be if you're wondering how conscious a creator you are, a really simple thing for you to do would be to walk through your house, walk through your garage, go into all of your drawers and all of your storage, and see how many things are there that you didn't know were there. And those are all the just in case things. Those are all the just in case things. And that's you appreciating the universe intervening in your experience. That's you saying, it's the same as saying that you want the universe to be an authority that intervenes in your experience. And so it does. So it does. Things happen. Things happen and that were unexpected is because you're appreciating something happening. That's what you're imbuing with your energy, with your unconscious focus. So, in a world where most human beings are searching for meaning, and most of us are living a life that's devoid of meaning, one of the best things you can do is clear out everything that you don't have the capacity to appreciate now, and find someone that does have the capacity to appreciate it now, or refuse it, send it back into the center of the earth, so it can be refused into some other form of matter or life that can meet a currently unmet need, meaning it'll be appreciated somewhere else in some other form. And you can, once you've done that, you can start to live your life super consciously. I used to have 25 butter knives in the drawer because I've never thrown one away this is hypothetical, because I've never thrown one away for 30 years. And they're just all there, Just, you don't need 25 butter knives. Oh, but just in case I have a massive dinner party one day and there are 25 people there. There is no just in case. Either create a special occasion where there's going to be 25 people there, or don't. Living consciously is about appreciating what you have now. And if there are things you have now that you don't appreciate, get rid of them. Get rid of them so that everything in your life is something that you use, is something that you imbue with your energy, with your presence. It's something that has utility for when you're creating in the world right now. It's something that exists in your reality where the so that just rolls off your lips. I've got this lamp so that I can read my book late at night without disturbing so-and-so. The curtains in the living room are really thick so that It keeps the heat in. I've only got 10 butter knives. So that when I have the monthly dinner with the extended family, all 10 of us get a knife. This is what it means to be conscious. And all of us are inadvertently victimizing ourselves. We're inadvertently inviting intervention. And, the real reason, or the only reason, is because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust the choices that we're making. And we're still trying to please an unseen authority figure, or one that is seen, the boss at work or our parents. And, discernment is everything. Know what you want. Move towards everything that you're inspired by, and appreciate everything in your life right now that is enabling you to express that. Eventually you won't need the universe or anyone else to intervene in your own life, because you treasure your sovereignty and your power to make your own choices for yourself and enjoy the fruits of your own labor. And it's much more rewarding. It's much more when you've got to sow that for everything. That's what meaning is. When everything in your life has a sow that. And so my hope for you is that you can see every aspect of your life that you want to grow, and that you declutter everything that is an impediment to you giving your sole focus for the parts of your life that you want to grow from where you are now. It's important that you don't inadvertently create conditions upon your happiness, upon future events. So let's say, as an example, let's say you wanted to be a bus driver. You had a vision and a dream to be a bus driver and take people on tours. Now, the best way to create stagnancy and, hold the energy of wanting some kind of intervention in order to get what you want would be to say, oh, well, I don't have a bus. And so you've created a condition upon being a bus driver and taking people on tours. Meanwhile, you have a car, and you could take one person on a tour. You could put your kids in the back of the car and take them on a tour. And coming up on the left, we've got blah, blah, blah. And on the right, we've got da, da, da. Appreciate what you have now. And, this is how you evolve into your vision. You appreciate what you have now. Understand the reason why you want things, and create it now with what you have now. Appreciate something that you have now that is imbued with that same intention, and just watch your life blossom. Before you know it, you will have outgrown the car, and you'll need a van, a 7-seater van. You're still doing it as a hobby at this point because you're just loving it. You're just sharing your gift and your passion for driving people around, showing them around where you live. And eventually there's so much gravity around it that people want to share their appreciation for you sharing your gifts. Man, money's no issue, and it's just a no-brainer. Then you buy a bus. This is how it works. This is how all of life evolves like this. Your appreciation is what evolves all of life, all of reality. Everything that receives your presence is growing. Your children, your hobbies, your relationships, the items around your house, and everything that you're not appreciating is in the process of decaying back into the center of the earth to be refused into something to meet an unmet need somewhere else. So I hope you got something out of that. I'll leave it there. That's all for the nature of, what was this one called again? I can't even remember. The nature of, no, it's gone. Oh, intervention. My bad. Okay, talk soon.